That's a possible question. Okay, so with this I will call on stage Joao Frade, my colleague in Digit, who is also the Mr. Chef. That's your last name in the end.
I'll go with So good morning, everyone. Bom dia. Can you hear me well? On Monday I had no voice, so I was like thinking on Wednesday it will be quite hard to explain the CEF to you. Fortunately, I guess that you can all hear me. Yes? A show of hands. Everyone is still awake? Yeah? Okay. I only have 55 slides about CEF, so it will be really quick. And the timekeeping will be easy. What we discussed, I think, up to now is that we have reached in Europe what we call, or what in 2012 was coined as the new normal. So if you looked already at the DSI, the Digital Economic and Society Index, Europe reached in 2017 what they call the 50% mark in all these different dimensions: connectivity, human capital, use of internet, integration of digital technology, and digital public services. So this is really good news, I guess. But as my colleague Constantino said, we are still halfway. So we have done a lot of work, and we have seen that with the example of Portugal, also in Spain. But there is still a lot more to be done, which is good, because some of you come from the private sector. And this means that there is still work to be done, and public administrations still need our help. So we have still a lot to do. Now, if I want to tell you exactly how we see the challenges in CEF, we would simply state two main challenges. The levels of maturity of the member states are still very different. I highlighted there Portugal, not because I'm Portuguese, but because we are in Lisbon. As we can see there, Portugal is exactly there at the 50%. But there are others that are lower and others that are higher. However, they all need to work together for creating a functional digital single market. And this is really the mission that us in CEF and ISA together are here to help you achieve. And the second challenge is the fact that when you go and talk about online services more and more, you start to see contradicting trends. So you need to be open, but you need to be trusted. And you need to be used locally, and you need to be used cross-border. And then you need to be large scale, and you need to be reliable. So things are getting really complex. So you need help. And this is why we have programs like ISA, and we have programs like CEF. As you know, any society relies on three main infrastructures: transport, energy, and telecommunications. The CEF works on all three. It's a 33 billion euro project that was launched still in the year of Barroso and continues today. We started to work on CEF in 2014, and we will continue until 2020. And my part of CEF, which is also the part where Digit is involved and Digit Connect is involved, is on the digital infrastructures. So we call them DSIs, digital service infrastructures, and there is a tiny part there also for broadband. This is, by and all, 1 billion euro. So I did 2 slides, and half of my time is gone. Okay, but no worries, we can continue. So time perspective. We have done a lot of piloting. We are currently scaling up our services. We have now the IDES regulation that helps us achieve this from the legal perspective. We have CEF that helps us to achieve this, because as you will see, we have a lot of services that we can provide to you, and at the same time we have grants that you can benefit from, being either from the public or the private sector. So it's really the moment to act. So what does CEF finance with the 1 billion euro for digital service infrastructures? 3 things: projects at national level. When I'm talking about national, could also be local or regional. And we finance up to 75% of the eligible cost of those projects. So there are grants that you can apply to and receive money, and you can be from the private or the public sector. So if you don't know about it, you should be doing something today. Then those projects need to be within one of the areas that CEF has selected to support. Could be e-justice, consumer protection, information society, internal market, and social security. Part of the money also goes to the European Commission, because we help the DGs to put in place these portals that you know that help the member states to go, the citizens to go and contact the local services. Finally, the third element are the building blocks. So this is really the sharing and reuse element of CEF. Both the member states and the DGs in the Commission need to reuse as much as possible the 5 building blocks of CEF. And those are EID, e-signature, e-invoicing, e-delivery, and e-translation. And this is what binds everything together, are the building blocks. So very quickly, if you go today to the European Data Portal, you will already see that that European Data Portal is fed by different portals of cities, regions, and member states. And they use our building blocks. So the European Data Portal is one of the projects financed by CEF. They use EID to help the citizen authenticate, and they use translation to translate the metadata on that portal. If you go to the e-justice portal, same story. They connect to all member states in Europe, and they use our building blocks to do that. EID to authenticate, translation to translate, and e-delivery to share information. So it's really easy. So my message after this quick talk is that you go and have a look at our building blocks. They are reusable elements that you can use in your national projects. You can also use them in your cross-border projects. I really believe that they will help the future citizens of, as we call them, the digital citizens of the future, to be happier, safer, because they help both security, openness, interoperability, and they are for free and for all. The reuse, as you can see in CEF, is across the board. So those are the projects in the different sectors that we finance. This is the reuse that we achieved already in a few years, 70%. You can follow that trend online. I'm rushing because of the timekeeping. We have these sort of dashboards that show you which member states are using which building block and the growth. So everything is going up and to the right, which is quite nice. Everything is online. Therefore, just go and have a look. And there are the grants. So the grants are being published. So there is one call that is open until the 18th of May. You have to find typically 4 entities to apply. And you have currently open the business registers interconnection system that also uses e-delivery. You have the exchange of social security information that also reuses e-delivery and other building blocks, the European Justice Portal, and the EID call. All of them open until 18th of May. On the 4th of May, we will have e-delivery alone, cybersecurity, e-procurement, and e-health. And finally, in June, the 3rd call. So these are concrete opportunities for you to start working on what we have been discussing here today. And in case you have questions, you can always contact us, because we have websites that are there to help you find information. So about the CEF building blocks, go to CEF Digital. About the grants, go to the INEA website. Okay? Keep this in mind. 2 websites, lots of information. And finally, you can always contact us in Digit at that address there, CEF building blocks, and I got there at 10 minutes. Huh? Good, huh? It was really a pleasure.
Thank you. So I think that you deserve the applause because you've been the only one so far that you managed the time well.